Hi everybody, this is kind of the culmination of No Sticker September for me, and that is to talk a little bit about fancy lettering in your planner. I am going to be using my Finito Pentel pen like I've been using all month, and then I'm also going to have a pencil out just in case. I don't necessarily like using pencil, but for some of you guys it might be more helpful. One of the tips I have for using lettering in your planner, especially for a pen only week, is that you stick to just a couple of fancy styles of lettering and your regular printing in cursive. You can go ham. I've gone ham with all sorts of styles, and that makes it look super like busy and interesting. But if you are new to using fancy lettering in your planner, especially for a pen only week, then it can work really nice to just have a couple of go-tos. It helps it look a little cleaner. So I'm going to show you a couple of them. And these are ones that are not going to be unfamiliar if you have been on my channel before, or if you have read my book, my cute hand lettering book. You can find out more information about that in the description box. These two are my favorite combination to use in my planner when I'm doing pen only stuff. So the first one is to just thicken up the side of your letters. W is one of the exceptions, W and M. So what I do is I just draw a line down the left side of the letter. And for a letter like W, I would draw a line down both left sides because it's kind of a doubled up letter. M would be the same way. Now you can notice that I have made this little like, I don't just draw the line if I need to create like an edge, either on the top for a W or on the bottom for an A, then I do that. It just creates like a side sort of situation. With like the A and the B, you see this section here, the little line. You will have that if you are not used to doing this. I actually am at the point now where I can just draw the letters without the little line, but I don't mind having the little line. So really quick, I'm going to do the entire uppercase alphabet for you, and then I will show you some ways that I like to accessorize or fill them in, because even if this is your one style in your planner, there is a hell of a lot that you can do to make these look interesting. All right, before I go into the filling of these letters, let us talk about the little asshole letters that always trip me up, or always used to. Now, these may not be the little asshole letters for you, but for me, they most definitely are. First of all, any curved letter, like a C or a G or an O, you have two options, right? You can go straight down, or you can go curved, like follow the curve of the letter. I do both. It depends on how stylized I want my letters to be. The key is you want to do it the same. So you don't want to have, like, let's say the word cog, which has 3 curved letters in it, right? And let's say you go down straight, and then turn it like that. Like, that doesn't look right. Do you see what I'm saying? So just be consistent. And generally, I don't pay attention when I'm doing it, and whichever one is the first one I do kind of becomes the one that I do for the whole thing. Next little asshole letter is J. So you would think, because we're going to the left side, that that's where you would do it, but that looks like sperm. So we're not going to do sperm. We're going to do it down the right side and just curve it under like that, because there's the curve. So the letter, like that's the motion. You're basically doing a J and then another J next to it. With a K, I did it the way I always do it, which is draw the rectangle and do this, but it actually would look more like this if you did it. Either way, I think this looks better. Even with some of the other ones like B, where like the line goes in, I feel like this little like crevasse here is not the business. It goes the same for R. So you can see here, I did the K the way I like to do it, and the R the way that you would do it if you aren't really good at it yet. So either way with those, if you start instead of with your first line, just with a rectangle, then you can do your R and your K super easily. Now I'm gonna gloss right over this little douche right here and go straight to X and Z, and then we'll talk about S. So for X, you could just do this and that's probably the easiest way to do it. The outcome is the same. Or you can draw the rectangle and then do that, or have them be connected. Your call. I would suggest doing it that first way when you're not used to it. And then for Z is one I do not like the look of in this particular style. Z is like my number one not like. So there's a couple ways you can go about it. You can go like this and then connect it at the bottom. You can go out and then do it to the bottom. Or if you're going to fill it in, you could go down here and then out here, and that kind of will look the most even. But let's just say I don't have a satisfying way to do it. I really dislike Z in this style. Like, there's always that fucker, like this fucker, right? Okay, so S. There's my regular S. If you want to just do it the easiest way, start up here and then just follow the curve until you get to the bottom and join the curve again. I'll show you that again. Start with the curve, go around, and then join the curve again at the bottom. Now, if you want to make your inside area fatter, one way that you can make it a little easier on yourself is to kind of flatten how you write the S out originally and just draw it out further. But again, S is going to be one you're going to have to play with until you feel more comfortable with it. Now, once you have these different kinds of letters, let me show you some different ways to fill them in. First of all, if you could leave the little line, this is just one way to kind of camouflage it, is to do little stripes inside. Or you can camouflage it by coloring the whole thing in. And this colored in version right here, these two versions, the stripes and the colored in, are my favorite to use in my planner. They're both easy, you don't have to think about it, and they both look really fucking clean, okay? Other things you can do, you can add a line inside it, like that, and you just mirror the lines. Like with the C, I kind of curved it to go with the curve. With the D, I made it straight. You can also color it in, but color it in sloppy. So like, see how this one has like little bits of white in it? That also can look really cool. Now, if you want to fill it in, but have it look like it has a highlight, what I do is I just draw like an angled line down inside the letter, and then I fill everything in, and then it leaves a little highlight. And you just want to do that same highlight in the same spot on every letter for them to look consistent with each other. Or you can do it the exact opposite way. You can draw in your little highlight and then color the highlight area in instead and do like a reverse highlight. Now, like we talked about already with colorful pens, you can add color to these letters by coloring in with a colorful pen of your choice, or by doing any of these other things like the stripes or the highlight or whatnot with a colorful pen. It's the same idea, it just looks pretty fucking rad. Another idea for you is you can do like a zigzag or some other pattern on the side. You can skip the inside altogether and just draw a little line on the outside along where the thickness is. What I try to do is not have it be a straight on line, but just like little dashes. And if another line comes in, you just pause it and let it get interrupted or broken. So for like the Z, it's one little dash, but for the X, it's like little dash, break for the line, little dash. Now, if you want to get super fancy with it, the final thing I'm going to tell you about that you can do is adding serifs, which are the little lines like in Times New Roman. And if you really want to know where to add the serifs, my suggestion would be to Google serif font and see where in each letter the little lines come out. But just adding these little lines can make it look kind of cool too. And you can do this with your font even if you don't have the inside. The second lettering that I really like is the same principle, but it's with cursive. You're doing like a faux calligraphy where you're basically thickening the downstroke. I've always loved that. So here's a downstroke, draw down the thickening. Here's a downstroke, draw down the thickening. You're doing the same thing you did with those capital letters, but instead you're doing it wherever you have a downstroke. Now, whether I do it on the inside of a letter or the outside of a letter just depends for me on how much space I have. And so you would do it that way. It's the same situation. So I'm going to go quickly through, and I'm going to use just the lowercase alphabet. Fun fact, with printing lettering, I generally stick to capital letters, uppercase letters, except when I decide to mix things up with a little bit of lowercase. And the lowercase letters, you can do the same thing with. But with cursive, I like to stick to lowercase letters because, to be perfectly honest with you, I think most uppercase cursive letters are awkward as fuck. So I just stick with lowercase in my planner. And so I'm showing you what I like to do, not all of the options. So really quick, I will do the cursive here. I will demonstrate that for you and show you how that works. Now, one thing you'll notice with this initial cursive is that I made it a little bit wider. Even when you're writing small, you just want to make sure to leave a little bit of extra room for the thickening part. If you don't leave the room, it's going to look really cramped. Now, first of all, you may notice in some areas I did not, like this K here, I didn't bother doing the extra bit. There's no fucking rules here, dudes. Like, don't try and be absolutely perfect, especially in your planner. You're supposed to be doing this to use your planner for the week, and then you move on to the next week. So don't get hung up in the specifics. Another thing I didn't mention at the beginning is not to worry about if your cursive looks like mine or not. The key here is just to write slowly and then add to it. The faster you write, the harder it's going to be to have control over what you're doing. One other thing that I thought about when I was doing this that I wanted to show you here, I'll use the N as an example. So I just wrote a cursive letter N, but instead of just starting here and making a line, I mean, that's a look, but it's not a look I like. I like the curved look. What I should do, and what I usually do, is I kind of start at the top of the curve, follow the curve, and then just come out again and draw the curve. So I'll do that again with the M. Follow the curve, and there's that letter, or that section. Do you see how I'm just following the curve? That looks a little bit more natural. And then again, you can go in and color in. You can do any of the stuff I just talked about to make it look pretty fucking awesome. So those are the two styles I like to use, but I will bust out the block lettering every once in a while, and I'm not going to go deep into it. I have previous videos, and I'm thinking about doing a more in-depth situation when it comes to block lettering. It's my absolute favorite, but generally speaking, if you want to do block lettering and you are not comfortable with it yet, grab a pencil and lightly write down the word like work in pencil in your planner, wherever you want to put it. Again, making sure to leave a little extra room, and then you just go and trace around it. Now, you can do what I like to do and make it super puffy by leaving lots of room around it, like I did right there, or you can keep it very like tight. And skinny. You can do the exaggerated situation where part of it is super wide, but then the rest of it is super skinny when you trace around it. There's different ways that you can play with it. The key is to just remember that no matter how you do it, like you could do it like this if you want to have like that magazine letters look, or you might want to have it all be super like consistent so that it has like a super chill look. Anyway, the point being is that I'm not going to go super deep into bubble lettering, and that's also not really great looking. But either way, if you want to add bubble lettering, then that's all well and good. But I'm specifically focusing on those two because I want to show you really quick how nice they can look both in a planner or together in a planner. Now that I have shown you my favorite lettering to pair together in a planner, I'm going to give you a couple of tips for using lettering as part of a plan-only week. The first of all is that you keep your lettering consistent based on the different things you're doing. So let's say that you work on Thursday and Friday, and then you relax on Saturday and Sunday, right? What I might do is use this style of lettering. make those ones fancy for the sake of my tendinitis. But you can combine the two fonts together. You can turn your thing sideways. This is something I love to do for things that last all day. I especially like using bubble and block lettering this way. And if you have a horizontal, same deal. You can work horizontally like this, or you can go up and down like this. I also like to write across. And you can do this again with any style. But I think cursive stretches out really nicely. One of the important things is, for me, is that I like to combine everything that I am doing. So I don't like to just do all fancy lettering. Then it starts to become illegible. I like to use the fancy lettering to highlight, to make things pop, or just to create something aesthetically pleasing. So I love the look of this, right? Just the printing, the cursive, and then the fancy lettering. And what I might do is repeat this little style in different spots on my planner. Like here, it might be get blood work done. And then here, it might be make dinner. And then here, it might be go to the farmer's market. And I will repeat this little layout, if you will. Farmer market. I'm not going to put the S because I'm losing lettering chicken. But you see how I'm kind of repeating the similar layout here to this. And so these little like moments in your planner, I have done it before where I've had them all go straight across the bottom to create like a every day there was one of those, or I've scattered them. That can look really awesome. Use it whenever you want to with whatever you think looks good. If it doesn't look good to you, then don't worry about it. You're going to have a fresh week the next week. You try to let it go if it doesn't look the way you want it. But the more practice you get at using lettering in your planner, the better you're going to get at it. So I suggest you give it a try. And if you'd like to see me do a planner spread using this kind of idea throughout the week, then you can come on this coming up Sunday. It's the 27th. I'm actually on my current week in this planner, even though this is a Yellow Paper House planner, by the way. At 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, I will be doing a live plan with me using the fancy lettering and doodles that I taught this week. Now, this is not at all the end-all be-all of fancy lettering. You can always check out my book, or you can just go and watch some of the other videos on this channel in the lettering playlist. The idea of using fancy lettering in your planner does not mean you have to know how to do all of the fancy lettering. It means if you can figure one or two styles out, whether it's these ones or you go online and you find a couple of styles you like, when you're still in the beginnings of it, try just using those couple of styles along with your printing for a consistent look. And then the more you learn, the more you can experiment with. This kind of goes to what I say about buying stickers, buying washi tape, or whatever. In the beginning, less is more. You don't want to overdo it because you will get frustrated, and it's hard to get good at anything if you're trying to learn 45 different things at once. You will get so much better at this style of lettering if this week you do a pen-only week and you just use your printing in this style. You don't add in the fancy cursive, and you don't try to do bubble letters, and you don't try to do like letters that have like a, curly Q or whatever. Like if you really want to get good at something, you want to focus on that. And so that's the tip I'm giving you if it's something you are still scared of doing. I'd love to hear your questions about lettering in the comments below, your favorite kinds of lettering to use or the kinds of lettering you want to learn. I hope that you subscribe so that I see you on Sunday. Stay safe, dudes. Wash your hands. Be careful out there. Like I said, subscribe. And until next time, peace out.